I've always been good to you, right? To you and your family.
Not only is it great to see you do pretty much almost anything, but it's great to see you as kind of this fun, out of the box kind of villain.
Thank you. I appreciate it. It's so fun to play bad guys. I know every actor says that. It really is true. There's just a chance to, I don't know, be just follow your worst impulses as a human being, and just kind of, it's like you're getting to exorcise a part of yourself that you can't in your normal life because you want to be a good person, hopefully.
Obviously, I could be very wrong. This is kind of the character that you also create a very large backstory for.
Yeah, it's difficult when you get used to working in television because it would be easy to forget that the reason I know how to play Dennis as well as I do is because I've gotten to live with this guy for 15 years. For multiple seasons, but I also created the character. I wrote the character, so I know that character inside and out. I know that if an improvisation were to break out, I would know how to answer as Dennis. That's how well I know the character, because I know how he would react in any situation. With the film, you don't have that luxury. I didn't have the luxury of playing that character for multiple seasons, and sort of knowing what makes him tick, knowing what his buttons are, and so. But you want to know all that stuff when you show up to the set, so that no matter what gets thrown at you, you can react in character, and I didn't want it to feel like something that I'd done before, so I spent a lot of time talking to Adam Egypt Mortimer, the director, the writer. Countless hours talking to him about the character, thinking about it myself, and just going over it and over it and over it and over it, which is not something I normally do. But it's also not something I normally need to do, because most of my work has been in television and I know those characters.
But this is also the type of film that it's the case with any type of film or TV where one false step could make it something really bad. But this is something where it's just like you have to have the right person at the helm to get it right, or it's going to be on an episode of Paul Shear's How Did This Get Made? So where was your faith in Adam for all of this?
My faith in Adam was for multiple reasons. One, I'd seen the movie that he made right before this, Daniel Isn't Real, and loved it. I just thought it was, I thought it was beautiful. I thought it was incredible. I thought it was really moving and horrifying and scary and real, and worked on multiple levels. And then in just sitting down with Adam and talking to him about it, I was like, this guy has a vision for this. The way he talked about the movie, the way he talked about shooting it, the way he saw the script, the way he saw the world, the way he described it, I was like, this guy, has definitely got a vision for this. And, it might be really strange. It might be really odd, but I like really strange and odd things. But I didn't get the impression that there was any world in which it was going to be bad.
Well, is that also the thing about working with, I mean, look, he's got a lot behind him, but he's still technically an up-and-coming filmmaker, being at the point where he could really take chances.
Yeah. I don't understand where his confidence comes from, because, as you say, he doesn't have a ton of films under his belt, and we didn't have a lot of time to shoot this movie, or a big budget to shoot this movie. As a matter of fact, I'll give you a perfect example. The very first day that I showed up to set, we were supposed to shoot a scene where we pull up and we grab Hamster and we throw him in the car, and the actor Skyland, who plays Hamster, was like super sick and couldn't show up that day, but we couldn't afford to lose a day of shooting. So Adam, that morning or like late the night before, wrote a whole new scene for me and Amy Seimetz to do. And if you've seen the movie, it's the scene where we're sitting in the car and we're talking for a while, and then at the end of that scene, I go and I grab and I bash, and that was just that was Skyland's stunt double. But we really had to be just like on our toes. But I wouldn't have been able to do that had I not known the character as well as I felt like I did. I think I would have really, screwed it up, man.
I mean, that's definitely where obviously those backstories come into play, because now you're thinking about all of his ambitions up until that point.
That's right. And then not only that, but then it was like, okay, now we have to shoot it. And it's like, well, I haven't even memorized it yet. Like, so it's like, whew, it was dodgy. It was dodgy, but it was also really exhilarating and fun. And luckily Amy and I are both writers, so it wasn't so bad.
Well, there's also, I mean, it's funny because I see you in so many different things, and while I've seen you do action, I've never seen you done like a shootout like this though, where it's so kind of smooth and kind of serious almost.
Yeah.
Did all of like those previous experiences though meld into this, or it's a different type of training?
I think it's a product of a few things. One, that I didn't start out in comedy. I always did comedy, but I really started out down a much more dramatic path. I mean, certainly in college and post college. I mean, I always saw myself being as more of a dramatic actor, and so my approach to comedy has always been a little bit more sort of the Alec Baldwin approach, which is it's really no less real when it's funny than when it's a drama, and it's really just a slight click of the dial one way or the other where that makes it funny or serious. There can be kind of a thin line between the two. So my approach to comedy has always been sort of from a dramatic point of view, like making the needs of the character very, very real. It's just that when you're writing it or when you're conceiving, it's like the needs of the character are so ridiculous that that's what makes it funny. Sort of like goofy ass performance. So to kind of click over into drama, I mean, it's definitely challenging, and it was definitely scary. I mean, I think the scariest thing for me in doing something this dramatic was the fact that, I'm not a menacing person in real life at all. I'm 155 pounds, and Joe Manganiello is, 200 pounds of pure muscle, 6'4", and you have to be able to watch the movie as an audience and go, that guy has to worry about that guy. Joe Manganiello's character has to be scared of that guy. That guy has to be, or at least within the world of like, the crime. I'm a crime boss. I have to be like intimidating to other criminals. That was a little scary for me because I just haven't been asked to do anything like that in a long time. But it was fun.
Well, I got to say, you definitely had, I think, the best running in different direction, kind of hugging yourself, shoot behind your pose I've ever seen. It was so smooth. So smooth.
That's that was one of those things where, Adam asked me to do that. And I was like, oh my God. It's like in my head, it was like, I went back to being a kid and like watching, Die Hard and watching action movies. And I was like, oh shit. Like I forgot. I've always wanted to do that. I've always wanted to like do an action scene where I get to shoot a gun and like, I get to run around like doing actiony stuff and get shot. And, so it was like being a kid again, man. It was so fun.
Well, I mean, during these times, during like the pandemic times, do you find yourself kind of honing different skills like that on your own to kind of keep up with, being ready for when things kind of return to normal?
Only insofar as, I don't know if other actors do this, but I'm a little bit insane. When I read scripts, I often find myself acting them as multiple characters. And even like if I'm watching a movie and I'm by myself, like I'll pause and sort of take on the persona of the I mean, it's like we're getting very personal here. Like this is really nutty behavior for the average person, but for an actor, it's like I really do kind of get off and like climbing into the skin of somebody else and just getting to think a different way and behave a different way. And I've always been obsessed with that ever since I was a kid. Just like understanding the psychology behind how someone can behave the way they behave.
Where is all of the current situation melding into any of that, and including the fact that we may see like a Sunny episode where Four Seasons landscaping is across the street from Patty's?
That has been discussed. I mean, Look, that was one of the first things that happened when that whole fiasco went down. Which, by the way, I I sort of fall in the camp of someone thought they had booked the 4 seasons. I mean, I really
100%.
right. I mean that's what happened, and then they showed up and they were like, "Are you kidding me? This is nuts." But you know, I mean, immediately on social media, I got hit up. They were just like, "That this looks like it would be right down the street from Patty's." So, I mean, normally we would not do something like that because it's something that the audience has already thought of, and it's almost too obvious.
Yeah.
But man, that's some good low hanging fruit. I don't know. We'll see. But I it's tempting. It's very tempting.